Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this exclusive Think and Thrive Summit here at Sunmarke. It's truly a pleasure to have all of you with us today. My name's Saara, and I'm a Year 12 student, and I'm very excited to be hosting Ms. Rasna Al Khamis, Chief Marketing Officer of Emirates Nature, Worldwide Fund for Nature. Her journey and insights into the environmental and conservation industry promise to make this session both insightful and inspiring. So without further ado, please join me in extending a warm round of applause for Ms. Rasna. Okay, firstly, how are you, Miss? Are you excited to be here?
I'm good. Please don't call me Miss. Rasna.
Rasna, okay.
I'm very good, thank you.
Let's start by getting to know a bit more about you.
Sure.
So could you start by telling us a bit more about your role as Chief Marketing Officer?
Sure. So at Emirates Nature, WWF, which is the regional office of the Worldwide Fund for Nature here in the UAE, I lead the marketing and engagement segment for the organization, which is comprised of several subunits. We have our comms team, which is kind of the heartbeat of the unit, and then you have several sub-scopes. One being social, another one being digital transformation, another one being digital marketing, which is slightly different, and then another one is our campaigns, our campaign segment, and partnerships. And then finally, we have a smaller segment, which is merchandise, which we've recently launched here in the UAE.
Sounds like a really dynamic role.
It is, it is.
You've also worked across multiple industries, from tech to FMCGs and ESGs. So what led you to shift your focus towards environmental conservation?
Well, you said it. I've worked in several industries, spanning from the US to here in the UAE. With that, you name it, I've worked in. So whether it's leisure, retail, real estate, tech, I've done it all. But one area I hadn't really exposed myself to was the conservation and sustainability side. And it was a challenge. I was approached for the role because they were looking for someone who was dynamic from a marketing perspective, not the run-of-the-mill kind of very science-oriented comms and marketing. They wanted a fresh view on how to sell their newly launched program, which was Leaders of Change. This is post-pandemic, actually. So essentially, they wanted some fresh eyes, a fresh perspective, the corporate side of things. And for me, it was a challenge because I was never really exposed to this. So it was a nice coming together, a nice a marriage of two learning experiences, if you will, on both sides. So yeah.
Interesting transition.
Yeah.
And how do you think your personal background influences your approach to sustainability and leadership?
Well, as I mentioned, my background is, I'm a marketeer, through and through, and that's what my expertise and my background is very heavily, where it lies. So whether it's brand communications, marketing, and digital data-driven insights, this is where my expertise lies. And coming here 20 years ago to the country, I became very inspired by the links and the deep-rooted connection to nature and the inspiring leaders, the stewardship of the founding fathers of this nation, essentially. So with that perspective, essentially, I see myself as kind of marrying both sides, and that's how I lead. I'm inspired by that vision of our leaders, and at the same time, I drive forward the marketing mission essentially for the department, and I like to see myself as as bridging units, bridging ideas or bridging concepts. So whether it's storytelling and science, whether it's culture and communities, I see myself as kind of being that bridge, if you will. Yeah.
For our next section, we're going to deep dive more into your industry and try to gain some more professional insights.
Sure.
So you've worked with both startups and very large companies, as you mentioned. So how does marketing for sustainability differ from brand marketing? Is there like a specific distinction?
There is, in fact. For sustainability and conservation, it's very purpose-driven. And from the corporate side, it's very product-driven, where you have, they're essentially one is more mission, in the sustainability side of things, but on the corporate side, it's very product-driven and very ROI-driven, if you will. We, in the sustainability sector, we are selling a vision, we're selling a concept for the future, an idea for the future, change, behavior change. So these are different, I guess you could say, ideas that we're trying to promote, awareness, etc. So it's it's slightly different, but at the same time, there are a lot of similarities. So like any other, organization, you have your comms, you have your digital marketing. We have to stay abreast of the trends to essentially create awareness, create FOMO, if you will, right? And get people excited about often an area that seems overwhelming and almost intimidating, right? So that's our role, is to make it more accessible, to make conservation, sustainability less intimidating and more accessible. Yeah.
And what have been some of the biggest challenges, do you think, in driving awareness about climate and conservation in this region specifically?
I think truly from a behavior side of things, this region is just learning to understand more about conservation and sustainability. I think truly, prior to this, everybody thought that conservation or sustainability is a Western problem, and it's a Western-driven sort of concept. But it's not. And in fact, what's happening here in the UAE, we're experiencing climate change and biodiversity loss here regionally. So it's very relevant to us. And I think another challenge, which is quite interesting, is that there's a lot of noise, cutting through the noise and trying to get people's attention is a challenge, especially with sustainability. It's not, from a corporate side, it's very hot. It's a very up and coming and trendy, buzz-worthy kind of topic area. But when it really comes to concept to action, it's a different story. Yeah, and so essentially getting people to engage, act for nature, and join hands and join us on the field is a little bit more challenging. And behavior change doesn't happen overnight. So it's all about your messaging. It's about your storytelling. So yeah.
So leading on from that, how do you ensure that your messages and storytelling actually connect with the public and actually drive behavior change?
So we put everything in local context. Storytelling is a huge part of what we do. And so essentially, we always drive it with local context, local stories, local gains, local impact that we're making on the field. And we illustrate what's being done here on a local level, and we connect it to the regional and then the international level, right? So we drive from a local perspective. We try to influence from a local perspective because nature is our ally. And essentially, there are solutions in nature, even here, found in the UAE, that can help mitigate climate change. So it's working locally, thinking globally, right? So that's how we try to kind of position ourselves, if you will.
Because that's such a crucial part to try and drive the actual change.
Yeah. Local storytelling, local farmers, and talking to the youth like yourselves, and bringing all kinds of segments of society together. So whether it's corporates, whether it's the government, whether it's like I said, the youth, or even just universities, etc. It's about bringing everybody together and creating those local stories, that local momentum, if you will.
Now, earlier on, you mentioned the Leaders of Change program.
Yeah.
So can you please tell us more about it, like how it started and what kind of impact it's made so far?
Sure. So the Leaders of Change program is what we like to call, from a marketing perspective, it's the first digital environmental movement for nature. And so we pride ourselves in being the first, essentially, because the aim is to bring people together and to act for nature, essentially. So what does that mean? It started in a post-COVID world, essentially, when we had to really reinvent ourselves, if you will. And while people were sitting at their terminals and behind the screens, we wanted to actually start bringing minds together to start engaging people. And so the idea or the program is built on 3 pillars: train, ideate, and act in nature. So these 3 pillars are essentially what drives the whole platform, and it drives the mission of this flagship product, essentially. It's a membership platform, and essentially we bring together minds to train them. We bring together people to help ideate solutions, and then we take those same people out onto the field and essentially work with them, work in nature for nature. So you could, do an activity like kayak for conservation. You could do a nature at night and explore fluorescent, fluorescent scorpions. So there's a lot of different activities to do. There's a lot of different ways to get involved and to upskill yourself. And the whole idea is to make conservation and the science and sustainability accessible. That it's not just for the environmental scientists, it's for everybody.
That sounds so interesting.
It is.
I know a lot of people who'd love to go kayaking.
Yeah, you should join us.
For sure. And finally, I wanted to ask, how do you measure success in sustainability campaigns? Because it's not just about the numbers.
Sure.
Do you measure it by awareness, action, policy change, or is it something else?
To be honest, it's all of it. It's all of them. And especially as an environmental NGO in the country and a charity, policy, creating policy is the ultimate goal. It is working alongside with government entities, but that's not the only thing. It's all of the things that you've mentioned, essentially. It's the number of people that we've engaged on the field. It's the number of people who have, it's everything, essentially. So I can't say it's just one thing, but engagement is a huge part of what we do. So even digital engagement, online engagement, the people that we engage on the field that we call. So it's everything, and truly impact is measured by numbers. So it's not just one thing or another. Policy change is often a great output. But in our impact reporting, we discuss various different key measuring, measurements that we what is the word I'm looking for? We report on, essentially. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your insights.
You're welcome.
We're going to switch gears a bit.
Sure.
For a bit of fun. We're going to
Okay.
move on to our rapid fire questions.
Okay.
So you have to be very quick and snappy. And
Sure.
have less than a second, okay?
Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. What's your favorite campaign you've ever worked on?
The latest one, AP25.
One word that describes your work.
Hectic.
One thing marketers secretly love but won't admit.
They love working under pressure.
Your favorite place in nature?
The beach.
Go-to productivity hack.
Lists. Lists. Yeah.
Instagram or LinkedIn?
Instagram. I like to be entertained.
What's one app you can't live without?
Instagram?
True.
Yeah.
What do you think is the most overused marketing buzzword?
Oh, there's so many. Authenticity. You know, it's an ironic word. People say, "Oh, let's be authentic. Let's do this," but that's actually, you know, it's ironic because that actually is taking away from being authentic. So yeah.
What do you think is more powerful, brand story or brand stats?
Both, but brand stats. Yeah.
And finally, what's your marketing superpower?
I like to lead people. I like to mentor them. I like bringing teams together. Yeah.
Well, thank you. That was very rapid.
Thank you. Somewhat.
Most of it.
Yeah. I talk a lot.
Now, we've already reached our final section.
Okay.
So we have a few questions from students who kind of want to seek your expert advice.
Sure.
Firstly, what advice would you give students who want to get involved in environmental causes but don't exactly know where to start?
You know, don't be intimidated by something called environmental science or the environment or sustainability. Even small actions count. Putting litter in its place, putting, you know, in the recycling container, small things count. You can start with yourself, your family, your friend group, and then it goes up. So down to the smallest thing that you think may not make a difference, it does. So yeah, and the more that you can influence other people, the better it is, essentially.
I think getting started is always the hardest.
Yeah. And as like I said, as an NGO, we welcome people to come on board and can always join us and you know, internships, you know, with Emirates Nature if that's something that they're interested in. 100%, we're an NGO and that's what we're here for.
And how do you think young people can balance their career goals with the desire to make a meaningful impact?
One doesn't need to compromise one for the other. I mean, you don't need to compromise one for the other. It can be in tandem. So if you have a desire to make an impact, you can do that in anything that you do. I don't see it as being separate. So yeah, I mean, in art, you can choose to make an impact through your messaging, right? Through, you know, in any field, I think there's a way to spin it, right? So it's not one or the other, but I think it's just being, looking introspectively and thinking, how can I make an impact with what I'm doing? Essentially, it's just kind of tinkering and figuring things out, if you will, right? And saying, okay, I want to do this, but I want to make an impact also. How can I connect the dots? I think it's a little bit of kind of soul searching in that way. Yeah.
Thank you so much,
You're
Rasna,
welcome.
for sharing your journey and giving us such an insightful look into your world. Your work is truly inspiring, and I'm sure everyone in the audience learned a lot because I know I definitely did.
I'm glad.
So thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Let's have a warm round of applause.
Thank you.